Hi, my name is Kenley Hayes, and today I'm going to be doing my article summary over the article titled Sociocultural Differences in Australian Primary School Children's Weight and Weight-Related Behaviors. It was originally published in the Journal of Pediatrics and Child Health in 2013. The topic of this article is to determine if there are sociocultural differences in overweight or obese children in Australia. This topic is important due to the fact that obesity is associated with a poor quality of life and can lead to many other health-related issues such as diabetes and heart disease, which are some of the leading causes of death. Research in this area was conducted in order to understand the sociocultural differences that occur within children's weight and try to find strategies to combat this problem. Both quantitative and qualitative research was used in the process of obtaining data. Information such as children's gender, language spoken most at home, dietary habits, and physical activity levels are all categories that were researched qualitatively. Additionally, height, weight, and BMI were researched quantitatively. The participants were Australian primary school children in grades K, 2, 4, and 6 originally. However, this study used a secondary data analysis of the 2010 New South Wales Schools Physical Activity and Nutrition Survey, which had 4,898 total responses or participants. English-speaking, Middle Eastern, and Asian groups were the focus of this study. The location of this study was in New South Wales, which is Australia's most populated state. Data was collected through the New South Wales Schools Physical Activity and Nutrition Survey, otherwise known as SPANS. Parents of children in grades K, 2, and 4 were sent a questionnaire to complete at home, while children in grade 6 completed the same survey at school. Data was analyzed using SPSS complex sample in order to account for the cluster design of the study and adjust for the standard errors and 95% confidence interval. Logistic regression models were used to separately analyze the associations with weight-related behaviors. Some of the primary findings that were found were that there was a significant difference in weight and weight-related behaviors within cultural groups according to the level of disadvantage, as well as significant differences between low socioeconomic status children from Asian and Middle Eastern backgrounds when compared to low SES English-speaking children. Middle SES Middle Eastern boys were less likely to demonstrate adequate fitness when compared to high SES peers. Low SES Middle Eastern girls in grades K, 2, and 4 were 4 times more likely to be inactive when compared to high SES peers. Low and middle SES Asian boys were more likely to be unfit. There were also clear, significant differences in findings among low SES children and their weight and weight-related behaviors according to cultural background. Some of those findings were that low SES Middle Eastern boys were twice as likely to be overweight or obese, 6 times more likely to be inactive, and 3 times more likely to be unfit compared to low SES English-speaking boys. Additionally, low SES Asian children had a significant higher prevalence of obesity or being overweight among boys when compared with low SES English-speaking peers, while obesity among girls was significantly lower. One of the most important findings is that there is a significantly higher prevalence of overweight or obesity in Middle Eastern and Asian children. Additionally, among low SES children, those from ethnic backgrounds were at a higher risk for overweight or obesity and adverse weight-related behaviors compared to English-speaking children. These results indicated that there is a need for obesity prevention initiatives aimed to reach children from low SES backgrounds and different ethnicities. These initiatives also need to be culturally appropriate and address the relevant issue of either improving physical activity, reducing the consumption of sugar-based food and beverage products, or limiting screen time. There were several strengths of this study, including a random cluster sample of a representative sample of primary school children, a relatively high response rate, and measured anthropometry. One limitation was a lack of information on family composition and whether ethnic children were Australian-born or recent migrants. The validity of the parent reporting for their young children's weight-related behaviors and physical activity is another limitation due to it being self-reported. Researchers concluded that the low SES Middle Eastern children and the low SES Asian boys have an increased prevalence of adverse weight-related behaviors and are at a greater risk of developing overweight or obesity. Gender differences in weight and related behaviors were also clearly found among Asian children. I find this information extremely important due to the fact that many of these lower socioeconomic and ethnic children and families are not made available to the proper resources to prevent overweight or obesity as described. Moving forward, I can personally use this research's findings when I start a family of my own. Being cautious and aware of how susceptible young children within the U.S. as well as other countries are to obesity can allow myself to attempt to provide the most nutritious lifestyle for my children. Moreover, these outcomes can be important for the entirety of this class as well. Being culturally competent is something that we have discussed as being a large advantage within the real world, and the information presented in this article sheds a new perspective on the struggle of obesity within another country. Thank you.